Hi everyone, today we've got a nice little E91 BMW, no start situation. We've looked at this car already, so we actually know what's up with it, but I'm just going to run through with you what's wrong with it and what we're going to do to fix it today. Start off with, you go to start it, turn the ignition on, and we get a crank but no start. So first thing to do, as ever, is run a diagnostic on it. So we're going to start with the ignition on, connect up the Autel, connect up to BMW, and with the topology we're going to do a full scan of the car. So we'll let that do its thing and come back to it and check the fault codes in a second. So that's the topology scan done. As you can see, we've got plenty of fault codes to work our way through. Start at the left and work across. In the instrument cluster, fault codes of transmission of data between the engine ECU and the instrument cluster. It's all relating to no messages coming from the DDE. And we're going to check in the CAS unit, which is the immobilizer. CAS start motor terminal 50 is absent, which I believe is a signal that comes from engine ECU. What fault codes we got on the IHKA? Not really interested in the heating, but we're going to have a look in the ABS. And again, fault codes in the ABS. No message coming from DDE to the ABS again. So it looks like the common thing is the DDE, which is your engine ECU, is not talking with the car. EKPS, which is fuel pump control module. Fault codes. And again, no messages from the DDE DME, so nothing coming from the engine ECU for there. Now if we try and connect with the DDE, doesn't connect. Other scanners will say that there's no communication, and usually with the Autel it's showing it's there, but I can assure you it's not. EPS, electronic power steering. Let's see what the EPS says. Again, nothing from the DDE. So what we can confirm is the DDE, engine ECU, has no comms. First thing to do as ever is check power and grounds. Check the fuses, make sure there's live where there needs to be a live, make sure there's an earth where there should be an earth. And the next thing to do is, if you've got one, you can plug in a second-hand DDE just to confirm that you've got comms again. Now, we know this already because we've had this car in before, and the customer's obtained his own parts, and he's actually put the DDE and the CAS unit on as a run kit. Caused a few more problems for us. It's not how we would have done it. But let's see what happens when we plug in a second-hand DDE, which is not programmed to the car, and then explain how we can get it programmed to the car in full. Use DDE, second-hand DDE, fitted to the car, not programmed to the car. If we try and start it, we'll see what happens. Crank the crank, no start at all. And let's see what the fault codes have to say now. We're going to do a rescan. This is full scan going through again. Again, it's topology. We're going to let it do its thing. Takes a couple of minutes. We'll be back when that's ready. Okay, topology has done its thing. First thing we're going to do, just to verify if we've got comms now, is we're going to connect with the DDE. And look, now we have communication. So we can confirm, yes, the DDE, the old one, was water damaged. It's no good. We've now got to try and get this one programmed to the car. Fault codes we're going to have in this DDE now is lots and lots and lots. We can clear those out, see what we're left with. Anti-tampering protection, because it's the wrong one for the wrong car. So, see what the EWS has to say for itself, or the CAS unit as it actually is. Still got that one box there. I'll No codes detected now, so it's now getting the it's now going to get the start signal, but it's the wrong one. It's never going to start. So now, got a little tip for you how to get these programmed. What you're going to have to do is get the CAS unit, the second-hand DDE, a working key, and send it to us. Here's how. Simply log on to ecuconnection.co.uk, where you can find a vast selection of programming services available for all makes and types of vehicles. We also stock thousands of ECUs and control modules in our ECU shop, ready for immediate dispatch Europe-wide. To search for a service or a product, you can use the quick search box on the top left-hand side of the page, where you can enter the part number and it will display what is available. But don't worry, if you don't have the part number, or if you're not sure about the part number, you can use the filters on the tabs at the top here. Click here for the ECU shop for components, or click on services for if you are looking for a service. Once you've clicked on the service tab, enter values into the search boxes on the left-hand side. The first filter asks us for the brand, but we know that it's a BMW, and we also know that it's an engine control unit that we're looking for. Next, we will be prompted to ask what is the fuel type. The fuel type, as we know, is diesel. The brand of the ECU is Bosch, and we also know, printed on the ECU, that it's a DDE7 type ECU. Once we've entered all of the data into the filters, it will give us just one result. We click on the result, and there's a full description of the services available. Either a cloning service, which we don't need because we need comms with that one, or in our case, as we have no comms, cloning from IMO. So we select from the drop-down menu, cloning from IMO, and the picture changes to what we need to be sent to complete the job. Add it to the basket. Once it's added to the basket, you can view the basket and you can pay with our online secure payment system. Once we've received your ECU and your components that we need to clone it with, we'll get it back to you within a few days, all ready for refitting. These are the three items we're going to need. We're going to need the replacement ECU to be programmed to your car. We're going to need the CAS unit, which is located in the dashboard. We're going to need a working key. Box them up and send them to us with a covering letter or your order, and we'll get it done for you. Please make sure your items are nicely bubble wrapped. Plenty of packaging material because you don't want to be getting them damaged. Once you've got them nice and securely in the box and you're happy, please remember either a copy of your order or a covering letter so we know whose job it is when it comes in, so we can assign it to your job when it arrives. Get it in the box and send it there. Now for the science bit. So on this particular type of ECU, which is an EDC17, we can only transfer the ISN number, which is contained in the CAS unit. With the help of that and the key, we're going to extract the ISN number from the CAS unit, and we're going to transfer that to the engine ECU. Now, what you need to know about that is once we've done the ISN swap, it's not completely coded to the car, so you're still going to have to do a final coding and software update, ideally, or else it's not a complete job. So let's crack on and pull the ISN number out. So we've got the CAS unit connected up to a programming tool. We're going to read the file. So we're going to read the file out of the CAS unit. Right, once that file is read, we're going to open up another piece of software, and we're going to open up the dump file from the CAS unit. And once we've got that and the working key in there, we have got the VIN number and the ISN number. So we're going to just make a copy of that, and we're going to save that, and we're going to transfer that over in a short while using another tool. And just like that, the ECU is connected up to the programming tool. We've read all the data from the ECU. So now what we're going to do, we are going to open up the ECU file now. And now we have the ISN number from the donor ECU, which we're going to make a record of. And as we can see, these files do not tally up, they're different. So next thing to do is change the ISN number to what we want it to be, and we're going to save it. Once we've saved it, we're going to write back the new file with the new ISN. Going to write that back to the ECU, and once this is written back in, the immobilizer will now be synchronized between the CAS unit and the ECU. This should allow the car to start. So once this is written in, we're going to put it back on the car, and we're going to do the follow-up work. We're going to check the fault codes, we're going to see if it starts, and then we're going to hand the job over to Autel, and we're going to show you how to do final coding and a software update, all by OBD. Right, let's go to the workshop. Replacement ECU is now back on the car. We've got a power supply unit just keeping the charge on the car because we're going to do some coding and stuff in a minute, and it's important to have a battery supply unit on. So first things first, straight away we're going to see if it starts. The CAS unit is back in. It's mounted under there, by the way. So, well, we have a runner. That's all good. As you can see, everything's good. We will have some fault codes in there, and we're going to show you how to get around those now. So back to the Autel. Right, let's do another full scan and come back in a second when it's done its topology. Right, that's a full scan done. Not many fault codes left. Park and distance control, not interested in. In the DDE, let's see what fault codes we've got. Right, so we're left with two messages. Maybe a faulty car, maybe a coding is going to bring it back. But let's see what we've got in other units. So let's check the ABS. Straight into the ABS. No message from DDE. Still getting the fault codes there we had. Let's try and erase them. Right, no codes detected. Come out of the ABS. And that's clear for fault codes now. Let's do the final coding and software update. Time for coding and software update. We're using the Autel MS909. It's very, very good at coding the BMWs. Other tools are available. Launch for one, Topped On, and the new ThinkMax all come with this. You're going to need to use it in the future for lots of things. If we ever do an ISN swap on an ECU, we strongly recommend, and sometimes it's essential, to recode it to the car, because ISN number is just the immobilizer. You still have to code it to say whether it's auto manual and all sorts of other things that it's just pages of information that need to be coded correctly. With the Autel, you have to have it connected by USB to the interface, the VCI. Ignition on, and we're going to go into programming. And it's going to give you a series of things that you have to do. E91, we're going to go OK. It takes a bit of time to go through the menu, so we might have to do some time slips. When you get the messages to continue, just take a good read of them, and make sure you follow on screen exactly when it says ignition on and off, or terminal 50, 30 on off, whatever it is. First off, it's going to give you a list of units that you can code. The standard main dealer toolway is to code everything, but we're only interested in coding the engine ECU. Will the control units replaced? We can say yes or no to that, really. So let's find the DDE. So we're going to select the DDE, and we're going to go OK. There, finally it's done. Lots of options, an initial report of what software updates are available, etc, etc. We're going to go straight in for programming coding. We're going to choose selective update because we're going to clear them all, and we're going to go for program and encode the DDE because that's all we're interested in. Once we've selected that, then we're just going to select OK and execute measurement plans. We're going to go OK. Ensure tool is connected to the internet. I believe we're connected to the internet. OK. It's going to downware the software files. It doesn't take long. It's a really good system. We've got the booster pack on, or the battery support unit on, 12.4 volts. That's about the minimum that you want to reflash a car with. It will go up a little bit more as time goes by, but don't try and flash if you're getting below 12 volts. Don't come crying to me when it all crashes, or rather do come crying to me, because it'll be your FRM3 which has crashed, and we can fix them. We're going to let that download. We're going to come back to it when it's finished downloading. Okay, so it's downloaded the software flash. Very nearly. It's 99% downloaded the software flash. It's 100%. Okay, so it says OK to continue the session after the vehicle is connected. That means it's connected by the USB. We've already done that, so the next button to say is OK. Turn off the engine, terminal 15. Turn off the engine, switch on terminal 15. Terminal 15 is the ignition. The ignition is on, so we can say OK. The vehicle battery is detected lower than 13 volts. Yeah, that's 12.4. It won't actually let me continue until it's over 13 volts. So we're going to let that give it a little bit of a charge up, and come back to it when it's a bit higher. Be back in one little blurry image. Right, we're now up to 13 volts. Handy little thing. I actually overloaded the power supply unit when I was cranking the engine over. It tripped out and it wouldn't put any charge in, but now we're allowed to continue because we've got the magical 13 volts. So we will now OK it. Now it's going to go through all the stages. You're going to hear things wear on the car as it does its thing. It's going to take a bit of time to reflash. Right, turn the ignition off and remove the blah 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 blah. So we're going to turn the ignition off. Wait 10 seconds. Right, insert a key and turn the ignition on. As you can see, we've done a little time slip. The flash is in, it's coded. Initialization by terminal, change ignition on and off. Restore the individual data. Teaching the zero gear sensor. Right, so little warnings to read through. Read through the warnings. Teaching the zero gear sensor not successful for some reason, but everything else has gone completed. I have to come back to that if it causes a problem. Turn the ignition off, remove the key from the slot. So ignition off again, remove the key. Insert a key, turn the ignition on. Right, program follow-up routine. Partial post-processing execution failed. Please perform the post-processing separately. Okay. Yeah, just one little error, teaching the zero gear sensor. Make sure we are in neutral and brake on. Not sure why it done that, but we can have another go. Okay, for some reason it told me to do the program follow-up routine again, so we're going to have a go at that. Doesn't normally do it. Teaching the zero gear sensor, that's what failed. So we're going to go OK. Execute the measurement plan. Right, so reading up here, necessary marginal conditions for successful teaching of the sensor value. The vehicle is stationary, yep. The engine is idling, that's where we went wrong. Engine must be idling, gear shift in neutral, clutch pedal is not depressed, the handbrake is applied. So we should hopefully be able to start it, take the foot off the clutch, and then go OK. So if it's idling now, it should go through. Successful. So this time I've done the teaching the zero gear sensor, updating the vehicle order and clearing the fault memory. Right, turn the ignition off, remove the key, wait 10 seconds. Turn the key, ignition on. And completed. So we now have success of the teaching zero gear sensor. My bad, because I didn't read, I was in a hurry. So now if we do an auto scan, we're going to see what fault codes we're left with finally. Right, time for a time slip. Okay, so last few fault codes to look at: the junction box electronics. Going to have a look at that. We're going to check the fault codes in this. Air recirculation sensor, nothing to do with the engine ECU. We're going to try and get rid of those codes anyway, just to see if they're going to go. They probably won't, but that's not what the car is in for. The car's in for not running, and now it's running. See what fault codes we've got in the DDE. Digital, diesel, electronics, cooling, air flap system activation, LIN, BSD, preheating control unit missing. I think that's probably just a fault code on the car which was in there anyway, which has probably been living with. We're going to clear those out. We're going to worry about that later. EGS it doesn't have, but as you can see, that's how to install an ECU when you got no comms with the old one. All we need is the replacement ECU, the CAS unit, and a working key. We don't always need a working key if it's not an encrypted CAS, but we'd rather have it anyway, and we can check everything out. Once we've swapped the ISN number for the immobilizer, we ideally like you to go through this little process with the coding and software updates. It just ties everything up, but as you can see, it's gone from a non-running car with just a crank to a running car. Right, thanks for watching this far. Call us if you need anything.